Behind the glittering success and fame, many of Hollywood's biggest stars carried deep personal struggles. During the height of the AIDS epidemic, countless beloved figures were taken from us far too soon, leaving the world shocked and heartbroken. In today's video, we're uncovering the stories of 15 famous gay celebrities whose lives were tragically cut short by AIDS. From music legends to Hollywood icons, their legacies still echo today. Stay tuned because some of the names on this list will truly surprise you. 1. Freddie Mercury. Freddie Mercury, the legendary frontman of Queen, was known for his flamboyant stage presence and powerful voice. Born Farrokh Bulsara in Zanzibar, Mercury moved to the UK, where he transformed the music world with his unique blend of opera, rock, and theatrical performance. Hits like Bohemian Rhapsody and We Are the Champions became anthems that transcended generations. Mercury's showmanship was unparalleled, and he helped Queen become one of the biggest bands in the world. However, behind his larger-than-life persona, Mercury was privately battling HIV. Diagnosed in 1987, Freddie kept his condition hidden from the public for several years, continuing to perform and record. His final album with Queen, Innuendo, contained poignant references to his mortality, particularly in tracks like The Show Must Go On. In November 1991, just 24 hours after publicly announcing that he had AIDS, Freddie Mercury passed away. His death marked a turning point in the global conversation around AIDS, helping to bring greater awareness to the disease. Freddie's legacy lives on through his music, and his courage in his final years made him a symbol of strength for the LGBTQ+ community. 2. Rock Hudson. Rock Hudson was the quintessential leading man in 1950s and 60s Hollywood. With his good looks and charm, Hudson starred in numerous box office hits, including Giant, 1956, alongside Elizabeth Taylor, and Pillow Talk, 1959, with Doris Day. He was the epitome of Hollywood masculinity, known for his roles in romantic comedies and dramas. However, his true life as a closeted gay man was kept secret for most of his career, reflecting the challenges many LGBTQ+ people faced at that time in a deeply conservative industry. In 1984, Hudson was diagnosed with HIV, and his publicist confirmed his illness the following year after his health visibly declined. Hudson's announcement that he had AIDS was a major cultural moment. It was the first time many Americans realized the disease could affect anyone, including beloved Hollywood stars. Hudson died just months later in October 1985, but his legacy continues to be felt. His public battle with AIDS helped to humanize the disease and catalyzed efforts to fund research and awareness, marking Hudson as a pioneer in the fight against stigma surrounding HIV/AIDS. 3. Rudolf Nureyev. Rudolf Nureyev, widely regarded as one of the greatest ballet dancers of all time, captivated audiences around the world with his unmatched skill and athleticism. Born in the Soviet Union, Nureyev defected to the West in 1961, becoming a symbol of artistic freedom. His performances with major ballet companies, including the Royal Ballet, set new standards in classical dance, and his collaborations with prima ballerina Margot Fonteyn became legendary. Nureyev was also openly gay at a time when it was still dangerous to be so, especially as a public figure. He lived his life with a fearless passion, both on and off the stage. In the early 1980s, he was diagnosed with HIV but kept his illness private, continuing to perform despite his declining health. In 1992, Nureyev finally admitted he was suffering from AIDS, but by then, his body was ravaged by the disease. He passed away in January 1993 at the age of 54. Nureyev's artistry transformed ballet, and his refusal to succumb to the shame surrounding AIDS helped to challenge the stigma that still surrounded the disease. 4. Liberace. Liberace was the epitome of showbiz glitz and glamour. known for his extravagant costumes, opulent lifestyle, and flamboyant piano performances. Throughout the 1950s, 60s, and 70s, Liberace became one of the highest-paid entertainers in the world, charming audiences with his showmanship and wit. However, despite his over-the-top persona, Liberace kept his sexuality hidden from the public, as homosexuality was still highly stigmatized. By the 1980s, rumors began circulating about Liberace's health as he appeared increasingly frail. Although he continued to perform, the toll of AIDS on his body became apparent. Liberace passed away in February 1987 at the age of 67. Officially, the cause of death was listed as a heart attack, but it was later revealed that AIDS-related complications were responsible. Liberace's death was significant in highlighting how even the most flamboyant and public figures felt pressured to hide their struggles with AIDS due to the social stigma of the time. His contribution to entertainment, however, remains celebrated, with his influence continuing to inspire generations of performers. 5. Anthony Perkins. Anthony Perkins is best known for his chilling portrayal of Norman Bates in Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho, 1960, a role that forever changed the landscape of horror cinema. Perkins' nuanced performance as the troubled motel owner remains one of the most iconic in film history, earning him a place in Hollywood legend. However, much of Perkins' personal life remained hidden from public view. He was a closeted gay man in a conservative era of Hollywood, a reality that weighed heavily on him throughout his career. In the early 1990s, Perkins was diagnosed with AIDS but chose to keep his illness private. He continued to work, starring in films and directing, even as his health worsened. He passed away in 1992 at the age of 60, with his wife confirming his battle with AIDS shortly after his death. Perkins' passing reminded the world of how the AIDS crisis was affecting Hollywood's brightest stars. Despite his personal struggles, Perkins' contribution to cinema remains unmatched, and his portrayal of Norman Bates continues to terrify and inspire audiences worldwide. 6. Michel Foucault. Michel Foucault was one of the most influential philosophers and social theorists of the 20th century. His works on power, knowledge, and sexuality reshaped how scholars approached history, politics, and the human condition. Foucault's studies on how societal structures control individuals, particularly through institutions like prisons and schools, were groundbreaking. His exploration of human sexuality, especially in works like The History of Sexuality, placed him at the forefront of intellectual discussions about LGBTQ+ issues. Foucault was openly gay and lived a life of radical intellectualism. In the early 1980s, he contracted HIV, though he kept his diagnosis private. Foucault's death in 1984 from AIDS-related complications came as a shock to the intellectual community, who mourned the loss of one of the era's greatest thinkers. His work continues to influence fields as diverse as sociology, psychology, and political science. Foucault's willingness to challenge social norms and explore taboo subjects made him a revolutionary thinker, and his untimely death underscored how the AIDS epidemic was robbing the world of its brightest minds. 7. Robert Mapplethorpe. Robert Mapplethorpe was a controversial yet undeniably talented photographer whose provocative work pushed the boundaries of art and social norms. Known for his stark black-and-white portraits, flowers, and highly stylized images of the male body, Mapplethorpe's art was often at the center of debates about censorship and the role of sexuality in art. His work challenged societal norms, particularly regarding LGBTQ+ identity and the male form. In the late 1980s, Mapplethorpe was diagnosed with HIV. Rather than retreat from public life, he used his illness as a final act of defiance, continuing to create art that explored themes of life, death, and decay. He passed away in 1989, but his work remains influential in both the art world and LGBTQ+ advocacy. The Robert Mapplethorpe Foundation, established before his death, continues to fund AIDS research and support artistic projects. Mapplethorpe's photography remains iconic, a testament to his vision and his refusal to conform to societal expectations. His legacy is one of boldness and artistic courage, despite the tragedy of his untimely death. To further enhance the content and provide additional information, here's a deeper dive into the lives of each celebrity, including their achievements, the circumstances surrounding their battle with AIDS, and their lasting impact. This approach will add more detail to the video, ensuring it surpasses the 20-minute mark while remaining engaging and captivating. 8. Tom Fogerty. Tom Fogerty was often overshadowed by his brother John, but his role in Creedence Clearwater Revival was crucial to the band's sound. He provided the rhythmic backbone to some of their greatest hits, including Proud Mary and Bad Moon Rising. However, tensions between Tom and John eventually led to Tom's departure from the band in 1971. After leaving CCR, Tom pursued a solo career but never reached the same level of success. In the 1980s, Tom's health began to decline. After receiving a blood transfusion during back surgery, he contracted HIV, a fact that he kept hidden from the public. As his condition worsened, the brothers reconciled, but Tom's health rapidly deteriorated, and he passed away in 1990 due to complications from AIDS. His death was a tragic reminder that the AIDS epidemic was affecting people from all walks of life. Although Tom's contributions to rock music may have been overshadowed during his life, his work with CCR remains timeless and continues to inspire musicians today. 9. Keith Haring. Keith Haring wasn't just an artist, he was a cultural force. His artwork, characterized by bold lines, vibrant colors, and dynamic figures, became iconic in the 1980s. But Haring's art was more than just visually striking. It was politically charged. He used his platform to address social issues, including LGBTQ+ rights, apartheid, and the AIDS crisis. His murals and street art became a symbol of resistance and hope during a time of widespread fear and misunderstanding about AIDS. In 1988, Haring was diagnosed with HIV. Rather than retreating from public life, he became even more outspoken, using his art to raise awareness about the disease. He founded the Keith Haring Foundation in 1989 to provide funding for AIDS organizations and children's programs. Tragically, Haring passed away just a year later in 1990 at the age of 31. Despite his short life, Haring's legacy continues to thrive, with his artwork remaining as powerful today as it was during the height of his career. His fearless activism in the face of personal tragedy serves as an inspiration to many. 10. Arthur Ashe. Arthur Ashe broke barriers throughout his career, both on and off the tennis court. As the first black man to win a Grand Slam title, Ashe was not only a trailblazer in the world of sports, but also an activist who used his platform to address issues of racial inequality and apartheid. However, Ashe's greatest act of courage may have come in the final years of his life. After contracting HIV from a blood transfusion during heart surgery, Ashe kept his diagnosis private for several years, fearing the backlash and stigma associated with the disease. In 1992, Ashe went public with his diagnosis, becoming one of the first prominent athletes to do so. His announcement brought much-needed attention to the AIDS epidemic, particularly in the Black community, where the disease was often ignored or misunderstood. Ashe's decision to share his story was a turning point in the fight against AIDS, helping to reduce the stigma surrounding the illness and encouraging others to seek treatment and speak out. He passed away in 1993, but his legacy as both a sports legend and an advocate for social justice and AIDS awareness endures. 11. Isaac Asimov. Isaac Asimov, one of the greatest science fiction writers of all time, was also a scientist, educator, and public intellectual. His works, such as the Foundation series and the Robot series, explored themes of artificial intelligence, space exploration, and the future of humanity. Asimov's books weren't just entertaining. They were deeply philosophical, pushing readers to consider the ethical implications of technology and scientific advancement. In 1983, during routine heart surgery, Asimov received a blood transfusion that was later found to be contaminated with HIV. At the time, the stigma surrounding AIDS was immense, and Asimov chose to keep his diagnosis private. He continued to write prolifically, even as his health deteriorated, eventually succumbing to AIDS-related complications in 1992. It wasn't until after his death that his family revealed the cause. Asimov's decision to keep his illness a secret was a reflection of the fear and shame many people felt about AIDS at the time. Today, his work continues to inspire scientists, writers, and dreamers, while his life serves as a reminder of the human cost of the AIDS epidemic. 12. Klaus Nomi. Klaus Nomi was a performer like no other. His blend of operatic vocals, new wave music, and outlandish extraterrestrial-inspired costumes made him a standout figure in the New York City art and music scene. Nomi's performances were theatrical, strange, and utterly mesmerizing, with audiences left in awe of his range and creativity. His rise to fame in the late 1970s coincided with the birth of punk and new wave, and Nomi became a regular fixture in the city's underground clubs, performing alongside icons like David Bowie. However, Nomi's career was tragically short-lived. In 1983, at the age of 39, he became one of the first prominent public figures to die of AIDS. His death sent shockwaves through the art world, and for many, Nomi's passing marked the beginning of a dark period for the LGBTQ+ community, which was disproportionately affected by the epidemic. Nomi's influence can still be seen today in the works of countless musicians, fashion designers, and performance artists who were inspired by his boundary-pushing creativity and unapologetic individuality. 13. Alvin Ailey. Alvin Ailey was a visionary choreographer who transformed the world of modern dance by bringing African-American cultural expression to the stage. His dance company, the Alvin Ailey American Dance Theater, became a beacon of diversity and artistic innovation, and his work, particularly his masterpiece Revelations, is still celebrated around the world. Ailey's choreography was deeply personal, often reflecting his experiences growing up in the segregated South and his identity as a black, gay man. Although Ailey was openly gay, he kept his battle with AIDS private, fearing the stigma that surrounded both his sexual orientation and the disease. He passed away in 1989, but his influence on the world of dance is immeasurable. His company continues to thrive, and his choreography is performed by dancers worldwide, ensuring that his legacy will never be forgotten. Ailey's life was a testament to the power of art as a means of both personal expression and social change, and his courage in the face of adversity continues to inspire. 14. Perry Ellis. Perry Ellis was a revolutionary force in fashion, known for his clean lines, casual elegance, and ability to blend comfort with style. In the 1980s, his label became a powerhouse, setting trends in menswear and becoming synonymous with American style. Ellis's designs were beloved by celebrities and everyday consumers alike, and his influence on the fashion industry remains strong to this day. Behind the scenes, however, Ellis was grappling with a personal battle. Diagnosed with AIDS in the early 1980s, Ellis continued to work tirelessly, hiding his illness from the public. In 1986, at the age of 46, he passed away from AIDS-related complications. His death was a major loss to the fashion world, and it highlighted the far-reaching impact of the AIDS epidemic, which was affecting industries far beyond the arts and entertainment sectors. Today, Perry Ellis International remains a leading brand in fashion, continuing the legacy of the man who redefined American menswear. 15. Gia Karangi. Gia Karangi was one of the first supermodels, a trailblazer who defined beauty standards in the late 1970s and early 1980s. Her raw, edgy look and captivating presence made her a favorite of photographers like Richard Avedon and Francesco Scavallo, and she graced the covers of major fashion magazines. But behind her success, Gia struggled with personal demons. Her addiction to heroin took a heavy toll on her career and her health. By the early 1980s, Gia had contracted HIV, likely from sharing needles. Her once promising career rapidly declined as she became more consumed by her addiction. In 1986, at just 26 years old, Gia died of AIDS-related complications, becoming one of the first women in the fashion industry to succumb to the disease. Her tragic life was later depicted in the HBO film Gia, starring Angelina Jolie, which brought renewed attention to her story and the challenges faced by those battling both addiction and AIDS. Despite her brief career, Gia remains an enduring icon in the modeling world, remembered for both her beauty and the heartbreaking story of her life. Thank you for watching this video. If you found it helpful, please hit the like button and subscribe to our channel so you don't miss any new videos. Don't forget to click the notification bell to get notified whenever we upload new content. Thank you so much and see you in the next video.